Filipinas are archipelago of more than 7,000 islands, where fun and sun intersect with culture and the ocean, giving the tourist a series of unforgettable emotions. And today we will visit one of the most historic islands in the Bay of Manila, Corregidor Island. It is about 6 a.m. and we are on the seafront near the most famous mall in Manila, Mall of Asia. From our adventure to discover Corregidor begins. Corregidor Island is an island located at the entrance of Manila Bay in southwestern part of Luzon Island in the Philippines. Corregidor has historically been fortified with coastal artillery to defend the entrance of Manila Bay and Manila from attacks by enemy warships. Located 48 kilometers from Manila. During World War II, Corregidor played an important role during the invasion and liberation of the Philippines from Japanese forces. After about an hour and a half of navigation, we are greeted by some nice buses, built on the model of the American city of San Francisco, which will be our means of transport to move around the various sites of the island. One of the most prominent figures during the war, General Douglas MacArthur, was stationed in Corregidor and used it as Allied headquarters until March 11, 1942. A statue in honor of him stands by the Lorcia Dock, MacArthur's departure point for Australia. Many think this was where he uttered the unforgettable line, "I shall return." Breathtaking view accompanies you during the tour, passing by wonderful views of the ocean that surrounds the island to the green jungle that completely dominates this area. Mile-long barracks. This massive edifice was built in 1915 to house the 60th Coast Artillery Anti-Aircraft Regiment, the U.S. Regular Army, the 91st Coast Artillery and the Philippine Scouts. Composed of two three-story buildings, its design was based on our country's tropical climate, high ceiling, large openings, and perimeter galleries for ventilation. Corregidor Island in the Philippines is packed with artillery batteries used during World War II. One of the artillery batteries is Battery Way, named after Lt. Henry N. Way of the 4th US. Artillery who died in service in the Philippines. It was constructed in 1904. Battery Way's tactic was to load and lay 2 mortars at a time, and then to fire them as a salvo, giving them a shotgun effect. These mortars were manned by a crew of 14. Battery Way continued firing all morning of May 6, 1942, the day Corregidor surrendered to the Japanese. It stopped firing only when the breech block of its last gun and froze at 11 a.m. warped by the heat due to constant firing. It was the last of Corregidor's concrete artillery to cease fire before the surrender at 12 noon. After the fall of Corregidor, Battery Way was manned by the Japanese and the guns were permanently damaged during the retaking of the island by the American and Filipino troops in 1945. War Memorial located on the highest part of the island known as the topside, it was built to honor the American and Filipino soldiers who fought during the Second World War. American personnel of the garrison along with their family enjoyed watching movies at Cine Corregidor before World War II broke out. The last movie that was shown was Gone with the Wind. The hospital in Corregidor Island, built in 1912, is shaped like a cross for the sole reason that in case of conflict, these will be spared, as outlined in the treaties and the Geneva Conventions. But the attacking Japanese disregarded these. The hospital was bombed out, and to this day, it lies in ruins, just like so many structures like the different barracks around the island. And this is also the reason why many say that in the whole island of Corregidor, this is the creepiest with many ghost sightings. The exploration of the Japanese tunnel was definitely the most exciting experience of the whole tour. The tunnels were built by the Japanese when they occupied the island. They were not cemented like the Malinta tunnel. They were just small tunnels dug in the clayey soil, just big enough for one man, or woman, to pass through. Once we left, we found ourselves immersed in the jungle where we found the remains of what were once the homes of American officers. One of the reasons to stay one night on the island is certainly the hotel, recently renovated and equipped with every comfort.